fellow watchers of the 404 LMSB TV. I'm your host, Logo Man 404. Now, you might have heard of my tabletop series, right? Well, let me tell you something about it. So I didn't even make this series just to bring back the original questions from the original game. It's just to help people that don't want to buy the tabletop game and still want to see the questions surrounding it. So that's there you see. But in all seriousness, You Don't Know Jack and Tiger Electronics created the tabletop masterpiece that we all knew today. So here's how it works. And so most of the questions are taken from You Don't Know Jack Volume 1 XL and 2. And two of them are taken from Volume 3. If you want to know what those are, it's I was a grammar school junkie, and thus he smote annoying creatures. Okay, I'm not gonna tell you who he is, okay? Trust me on this one. But there are some original questions, which I'm gonna try and find replacements for. Mostly from You Don't Know Jack Volumes 3 and 5. So, for example, Goodnight Sweet Prince as Goodbye City Life from Volume 3. You Can Pick Your Nose, but You Can't Picasso as What You Want, What You Really, Really Want from Volume 5 Offline. And Gabriel Dodman, if you're watching this, yes, I know Volume Offline isn't considered to be a Volume 5, but Fifth Dementia is. Yeah, I'm just gonna say this once. Even though Offline is mostly considered to be a net show compilation, I still consider Offline to be a Volume 5 because the gameplays kind of function similar to the main games. I don't mean to offend anyone in this video. Moving on. So there are still some other questions that there's still more to it than that. There's 500 questions in the thing in total. So you're gonna be here for a while. But then there's the expansion packs for such as You Don't Know Jack movies and You Don't Know Jack television that contain 450 questions each. It's a grand total of 1,400 questions in total. But just be glad that the movies and television people hasn't been released as the Steam guide showcasing the questions yet. Anyway, there are still some questions which I still fumble up to that day. For example, these two questions that I struggled, which are Silly Rabbi, Canisius for Kids, and Noogies and Stock Options. Well, I finally got them to function thanks to modifying You Don't Know Jack Sports by copying the Q fold and Q headers file from You Don't Know Jack Volume 2 over there. But this is a separate copy. I've deleted it after finding the questions, okay? Alright, now, and I didn't believe I would say that, but forced questions aren't a thing in this game. Every question is being played fair and square on that copy. But back to the topic of the thing. So there are still some questions that I still fumbled up in the process of making to begin with. For example, I was originally gonna replace question number 57, time flies, as time traveling hairballs, but after finding out about this, I've changed it to question number 430 because because vacationing hairballs is kind of like time traveling hairballs. So let's just keep it at that, okay? Now, and if that's not already known, time flies is already its separate question. It's not taken from a volume or anything, but I still managed to find the contents of the question. Yeah, so it's a special thanks to Etsy for helping me on my case. Then there's My Dad Rocks, which is question number 111. In case you're wondering, it's how do I put this? I found the contents of the question thanks to a certain YouTube short. Yeah, yeah. So this should help with the tabletop game off onwards. But only thing is that I'm gonna be recreating the question on Vegas Pro and making the thing similar to the Net Show 1.0, which is based off of Volume 1 XL. Now that's not already further, but back to the thing at hand. So if it's if it's not already well enough, so now in case you're wondering, there are still some questions that I'm gonna replace. For example, question number 232, I think it was, is called "Can I Ask a Dumb Question?" I'm gonna replace the $1,000 thing from "There is no such thing as a dumb question" from Volume 1. As per "There's no such thing as a dumb question," being question number 323, I think it was. Yeah, I'm gonna be replacing that as "There is no such thing as an easy question" from You Don't Know Jack UK. They're technically the same thing. Well, no doubt about it. Anyway, I think that's about all I can say about the game and how it works. But I have to say, but I'm gonna say this again for clarification. I know You Don't Know Jack Offline is not considered to be a Volume 5 by Jackbox Games, and it's more like Fifth Dimension that is. I just consider You Don't Know Jack Offline to be a Volume 5 because it works as the game as such as the gameplay from the main game. So hopefully that you. So I'm sorry to burst your bubble, and it's kind of like saying that the rewrite is not a Volume 7. Anyway, that's about all I have to put for this video. Thanks for watching and listening to this video. If you have enjoyed this, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, share the video, and leave a comment down below. I'm your host, Logo Man 44, signing off. Goodbye for now.